So yeah, this is the second part. But as I was saying, I do believe he had someone back then waiting for him in the States, and I never found anything like that ever again after him. After him, I found another guy, which I was trying to move on from this first guy. So I guess the second guy after this guy was a rebound for me to help myself move on, because I like this guy, this first guy. Let's call him C. C, he told me to move on when he left. He said you should move on, like find someone there in Italy, and I didn't want to find anybody in Italy because I don't like Italians. I guess I like foreign people. I don't like people from my own country. Now, of course, I shouldn't generalize it, but I don't think I find myself attracted to Italian men. Although it did happen a few days ago, and I was at a circus, but and I haven't been actually physically attracted to someone in a very, very long time. And I'm gonna use the Sicilian hand because this is so true. So yeah. But yeah, this guy, this C, told me you should move on, like go find someone else, and then he left. And this situationship lasted for a year and a half because this guy was blocking me on and off. I'm not sure why. I think I was maybe too much for him, and he couldn't really deal with how I was. I don't know what I had to bring. I'm not sure. People are raised very differently, so I'm really not sure. I don't know his side. I can only express my side and what I know and my truth. So yeah. It was definitely on and off all the time, but I made sure that his co-workers knew how much I liked him. And like I said before, some of them were telling me you should leave him alone, and some others, he's wacky white boy, something like that. And I didn't want to believe him because in my eyes he was a dad to me, like a dad, a father. So yeah. So he left, and then I tried to move on, and when he left, it hurt so bad because I didn't get to say goodbye to him. I don't think I ever got to say goodbye to him. So for the longest time, I've always felt like it was a stand-by thing, like unfinished situation. Thank you, Light. So I was in Limerence for 10 years. Although I tried to move on from this guy with this other guy, which was the 6-year relationship, 6 years relationship, and let's call him Logan. Although in this relationship there was, of course, interest, like there was a lot of back and forth, like a lot of give and take. Although in this situation, see, there was more. I was always the one giving to this person, but he wasn't giving back. So in my head, I believed that that's the way to go, and that's just not the way to go. Like, when when you're so blind and you love and you care and you think you love someone blindly, you're just, like I was telling you before, you're just experiencing the world out there, outside of you. So you think these things are called feelings, are called love. It's called love. It's called caring. You're just experiencing the world outside of you. So I was experiencing the world outside of me, giving to this person, being completely blinded. Like my eyes would be so shut. And I just give to this person, give. And it's like I wasn't receiving. So me not receiving, it made me believe there was something wrong with me back then, as a 19-year-old girl. I thought there was something wrong with me, but there wasn't. The guy simply couldn't reciprocate what I had to offer. So it was hard for me because, of course, there was a lot of trying to understand so much why this guy couldn't give back. It might have been because he was previously hurt. Like, I had zero knowledge about this guy. I had no idea what he went through, but I could feel every single time I was around him or close to him or texting him or calling him, I could see that he was running from something. I'm not sure if it was like a heartbreak, a previous heartbreak, if he was I don't know, something deeper than that. Although 3 years ago we kept in we were still in contact, because the thing is with this guy, he blocked me for 3 years and then unblocked me. And of course, me still feeling like I have unfinished business with this guy, I try myself caring about him again. I thought in my head. And it's like, because I didn't know myself, because I was acting out of impulse. I was acting out of like these things called feelings. It's like, you know? So he did tell me, 3 years ago, that he went through some mental issues, and also some people, like he lost some people close to him, I think his friends. Mind you, at 19, I had no idea about this. I did not know anything about this. He would not tell me anything. And to me, it's like, okay, I'm just trying to be so nice to you. Why are you not giving me some feedback? I'm so nice to you. Why aren't you? But I try to care about him as much as I could. And it's like, I don't know. So yeah, but yeah, my head believes that he probably had a son or something. Like I knew nothing about this guy to the point where like I couldn't trust him anymore. Like I didn't know if he had a wife, if he had a son, if he had anything. Like I had no idea. That's how unsure I was of him. So I tried to move on with this other guy, L. Like I said, this relationship was definitely more on a daily kind of level. It was more give and take. It was, I cared about this guy on a daily level. Like on a, I give you this and you give me that. Like kind of like a transactional kind of thing. Of course I cared about him. I cared about his well-being. But it was more of a transactional kind of thing, kind of situation, like you do this for me, I do this for you. So it was a relationship with benefits. Um, and of course, this helped me understand a lot of things about myself because, of course, living with a person, if you, like, whether you match or not, you will get to know yourself, parts of yourself that you did not know. So, I discovered a lot of things about me in this relationship, and it made me realize how truly toxic I was capable of. Because when you are raised in a family and there's chaos all the time, it's just really, really, really bad because you externalize, I don't know if that's the right word, but you put that chaos outside of you. So you hurt people around you. You confuse people around you. So I was definitely capable of being a toxic person. I was definitely a toxic person. So, yeah. I did learn a lot. And I do miss him. I do honestly miss this old guy. Sometimes parts of me wishes to go back. My old version wishes to go back to him. But this version that I'm talking to you, I don't want what I had in the past. Any kinds of relationships that I had in the past. Because I believe once you get to know yourself, and once you know who you are in your internal world, you make sense of everything that you've been through. Like, me now that I know myself, I can tell that the first situationship that I had with C was definitely a situationship based on chemicals, based on dopamine level. Like I said, if I didn't find something relatable with this guy, I wouldn't have found it interesting. I wouldn't have found this guy interesting. Like, the reason why I was so attracted to this guy, yes, of course, the physical, but it was not just physical. It was emotional, too. It was this inexplainable attraction towards him, like taking care of him. But not taking care of him as if I was a mother. Like, being taken care of and taking care of him kind of thing. You know, like caring for him. I do believe this, you know, kind of relationship sparked a lot of inner wounds that I carried for the 19 years of my life. And that's what I'm saying. When you experience the world, you experience it in your own lenses. You cannot experience it in someone else's lenses. So, of course, when you meet C, you know, and it's especially, you know, the first person, you feel very strong feelings, whether it's chemicals, whether it's, you know, actually caring about that person. It's your first experience, so you're like, oh my gosh, what is this? You know, like, I've never had a relationship, I've never had a situationship, so all of my wounds that I carry, my baggage that I carry of 19 years, they're coming out in this situationship. So the fact that I saw this person C as a father, why would I see him as a father? Why? You should not see your partner as a father. You shouldn't. And this takes me back to Freud, but I'm not going to talk about that because I believe that's also something so twisted in its own way. But I don't believe you should see your partner as your father or as your mother. I think you should see your partner as an equal, not as a dad, not as a father. Of course, you want them to have qualities of a good father for your children, but not for you, if that makes sense. So I was seeing this guy C as a father. I would see this guy L, this other guy, as a father still. And it's like, now that I know that this situationship was mainly because I was feeding my dopamine levels, because I do struggle, like I said, with dopamine. Like, I lack dopamine. So it was, to me, it was more of a, like, I did care about this guy, but my chemicals made me think I care about this guy. And it's like, it's my chemicals. So it's like, I wouldn't say it was a game, but I would say that I needed to feed my chemicals, if it made sense. I'm not sure why. I'm really not sure why. And in fact, you know, I have been doing a lot of research, also talking with my therapist about it, and reaching out to other people, to people that actually have been through something similar, especially me being neurodivergent. People do lack a lot of dopamine, and it's like, if I don't have that kind of dopamine, it's not okay. I don't work well at all. So this became like a game, became like an addiction, became like a, I need this thing to be okay, to be happy, to feel all kinds of emotions, and I don't. Now that I know my inner world, I don't need to put energy on people. Like, I don't have to be like, oh, that person makes me happy. Oh, that person brings me a lot of dopamine. I don't have to, because I know who I am. I know what I like and I know what I don't like. Of course, I like people who reciprocate. This person never, ever, ever reciprocated. So, essentially, I had zero knowledge of this person. So, how can I choose a person like that? I can't base this situationship on anything. There's no foundation at all. I know zero about this person. Zero. I know nothing. What I had with this person was literally my chemicals so addicted to this person, I couldn't breathe if I wasn't with this person. I couldn't, like, be okay if I wasn't with this person. If I wasn't talking to this person. I literally had to make stuff up sometimes just to talk to him. Just so that way I could feed my lack of dopamine. So, but on a base level, I had no idea who he was. I have no idea who he is, honestly. This guy literally was on and off all the time for 10 years. What can I expect from a guy like this? I had zero knowledge. It's me, it's my own brain that put so much energy onto this guy because of my dopamine, because of my chemicals in the brain. And that happens to a lot of neurodivergent people. Because we create a story, we create something in our head that, oh my gosh, I care about this guy so much. When in fact, I don't know this guy at all. I don't know who he is. On the other hand, with Logan, I had the possibility to get to know him. And then I could choose if he was a good fit for me or not, which he wasn't. But I could choose that he wasn't a good fit for me. I knew him. I knew we didn't really match. I could tell that out loud. Very different people. And it's like, now that I know my inner world, that I know my brain and how it works, I can realize what happened to me in these 28 years when it comes to relationships. Because I was definitely experiencing the outer world. I was not choosing. I was not loving because I had no idea what love was. I still don't know what love is when it comes to partner. I think for the longest time I've always thought love was letting go of someone. And I think that's partially true. But I also know love is respecting someone. To me, that's the highest form of love. Like literally respecting someone. Knowing that person's different, but I choose to be with that person. Knowing that person has got so much crap on their plate, but I'm still gonna love them. And not choose to change them. You don't change someone, you love them. You would want to inspire someone by doing what's right behind closed doors. Because literally people are I don't know how to explain this. I don't know how to put this. Like, when people act in closed doors, that's who they really are. 100%. So if you respect yourself, if you love yourself, you're going to love your neighbor. Like, you're going to love the person in front of you. You can choose to love them, but you can also choose not to love them. They can still be good people, but you just need to let them go. Because those people, either you don't know them and you make a fantasy out of them, or because they are not your match. It's really simple. So once you get to know yourself, you can actually discover what you can love, who you can love, and who you cannot, or who you are more likely to love based on the qualities you want that person to have, because it's really all about choosing. This life is beautiful because we can choose anything we want. We can choose what reality we have. We can choose the amount of income we have at work. We can choose what our education. We can study anything. We can literally do anything. We can choose anything in this life. And I am now literally realizing that and putting that into practice. So, I repeat it once again. I do believe growing up is truly sticking with what you like and what you don't like. It doesn't matter if to anyone is childish, antique, older than the Bible. Like, if it's weird, quirky, it doesn't matter. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But also a part of growing up is definitely realizing that kids will literally live life, will experience life through their senses. Grown-ups live their life through logic and healthy ways to live life. It doesn't have to be logic, of course, I'm a very logic person, so I'm telling you that on a subjective way. I do like living life on a logic way. Like, if it makes sense, then of course I'm gonna go for it if it makes sense for me. If it doesn't make sense for me, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna follow that. It doesn't make sense. I don't need to follow something that doesn't make sense to me, though. To me, because it gives me sanity. Like, logic to me gives me a bunch of sanity. Things without logic, it does stir me. I don't know if it's the right word, but it does, make me go in the wrong direction, and I get lost. I get lost in the unknown, and I really don't like to live like that. I don't like to live not knowing what's about to happen, especially in relationships. If I want to have a good partner, I'm going to have to make sure that he's going to stay there and he's not going to leave me. Of course, people leave daily, but it's like, me as a grown-up, I need to choose my partner. I'm going to choose that person is a person who's not ever going to think of leaving his family. He should not even have that in his mind to leave his family. Because that's not what my principles are. That's not what my values are. So I have to be with someone who is aligned with how I think. People who say, oh, you should date people who are, different than you. No, you shouldn't. Of course, they can have different hobbies and stuff, but when it comes to goals, life goals, you can't just be like, oh, I want kids, but then that person's like, I really don't want kids. That's just the weirdest thing ever. You don't want to be with that. You want to be with people that align with your interests. So, of course, now I can tell out loud who I like and who I don't like. Growing up is tough, but it's definitely letting go of certain experiences that you lived as a kid, because they were just either lessons or experiences, literally, experiences. Because if you think about it, a child, their first, one of the main senses they have heightened as kids is touch. Is sight, is hearing things, tasting things. And of course, as you grow older, yes, you do tend to get used to those. But since logic and the thought process becomes stronger, logic and maturity becomes stronger, you don't pay so much attention in the 5 senses, or how many senses we have. You don't pay attention to that. Although you do still have those, but since logic and since maturity is so big and so strong, solid, you don't pay attention to, my first time, or my first touch, or my first kiss. You don't. You kind of become desensitized when it comes to that, especially nowadays that everyone has sex just like that. It's one actually cool thing. I've had, physical interactions with guys, of course. Of course. It's like people, like, one fun fact, I just think that since we live in a society that is just hypersexual all the time, people have, like, especially men, think that porn stars are good at their job, at whatever they do, when clearly that's just an illusion. It seems like they do a good job, but I also believe even people that aren't porn stars do a good job. Like, I don't know, it's just society is putting people in this mindset, is giving people this mindset of, corn is the go, and, like, I like that, those girls know what they're doing. Yeah, probably they're paid for it, but it's like, you'll never expect what a non-porn star can do. Like, there's many girls out there who are super, super freaks. They just don't want to show it because they don't. And I've met a lot of people, a lot of females like that. A lot of them. And it's crazy because they're the most nerds people out there. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, and that's what they say with nice people. Like nerds, nice people are actually twisted in the mind in some ways. But people who, are way out there, sexual, or they just like that kind of attention, probably in bed or in relationships, aren't really that talented. And I'm not saying this to prove a point, but since we live in this society, since we, live collectively, I paid attention to that detail. I did. And it's a very pretty, spot on detail about society. That's crazy that men think, oh my gosh, porn stars are so good. It's like, yeah, maybe, probably. But there's crazier people out there, trust me. I really don't care much about sexuality, to be honest. I don't really get attracted like that anymore. I feel like if I'm with a good person, like character person, he's got character and he's got brains, that I like, because I choose to like his character, but also it stimulates my brain at the same time, because he's not just some person who has no knowledge. Also, I did receive the notification that of my diagnosis when it comes to being a neurodivergent. I got the notification of my IQ result. I'm not sure how much, but yeah, I still have to figure it out, but today, my therapist told me that that my brain cannot function if I don't find things exciting. And like I said, sometimes it can be destructive because I have to find something interesting. And that's why in men, I can have the logic in choosing a good character, but also knowing how I am and act accordingly. Like, I know I need mental stimulation. Like, I will not be able to, in 29 years, I've realized that I could not work on the physical if it doesn't tickle my brain first. I just cannot do that. So, am I looking for a man? Am I looking for an opposite? No, I'm not. Does it get lonely sometimes? Sometimes. But I know I'll be fine if I know I'll meet a guy. Like, I don't have a doubt when it comes to that. But even if I don't, it's completely fine. I will never understand those people who are like, everybody wants, like, everybody, like, people don't want to die lonely. People don't want to die alone. We die alone. We arrive in this world alone, we're going to die alone. So, I don't agree with that saying of people don't want to die alone. Like, some people, maybe. I would be super okay with not having a partner my whole life and giving that love to me. Because I've been needing that love. I have been needing that love. Whether it's because my parents try to give their best but couldn't fully give whatever I needed as a child. You know, of course, me, I have to pour that. The rest of what I didn't have. Or the rest of what, you know, relationships that happen in my life never succeeded. I have to give that to myself. And you need to give that to yourself. You know, to be able to be on a positive state of mind. So, yeah, definitely my brain has to be tickled for me to be even slightly attracted to someone. And, you know, be interested in someone. Growing up is definitely weird, but I am starting to enjoy that. I am starting to enjoy growing up. Instead of fearing it, I am starting to truly, literally grasp this concept of growth. I love it. I love it. Because it takes me high. Like, it just takes me, like, it makes me feel good about myself. It makes me feel like I own myself. You know? Like, I am the person who my kid version needed. And I am proud of myself for that. I am so proud of myself for that. So, yeah. That's really all I wanted to say about growing up. So far, I have talked about my, you know, what I know about love in 28 years, then what I know about mental health, and now I tried to explain what growing up means to me. And this was it. I'm not sure when the next video is going to be, but I am not going to post anything else when it comes to these kinds of series about learning. I feel like I've learned enough. I'll probably make another video like in 10 years or something, or like on a little bit further. So yeah.